everyone, how are you? I hope you all are fine. So in this video we will discuss about the reflex action. Okay, means what happens in reflex action. In previous video we had already discussed about the animal nervous system and the some few points about the control and coordination. Okay, so let's start this one, that is what happen in reflex action. Okay, so reflex is a word we use very commonly. Okay, it means it is a word that we use very commonly. Okay, when we talk about some sudden action in response to something in the environment. Okay, it means if there is any type of we can say there is a action there are some sudden action that is in response to something in the environment, then the reflex is a word that we use very commonly when we talk about what? The sudden actions. Okay, any sudden action in response to something in the environment. Now we say I jumped out of the way of the bus reflexly, or I pulled my hand back from the flame reflexly, or I am so hungry my mouth started watering reflexly. Okay, these are the some example that we use in our about some then that we use very commonly. Okay, when we talk about the sudden action. Okay, any action that we is done suddenly. Okay, so what exactly do you mean? So here is the answer, that a common idea in all such example is that we do something without thinking about it. It means, what is the meaning of this? It means we do anything without something. Okay, we do anything that we do something without thinking about it. It means when our it is this one example, that is the from the I pulled my hand back from the where? Flame reflexly. It means if there is flame and if we put their hand, then we reflexly pull out our hand. Okay, so this thing we have done this thing, okay, without thinking about it. Okay, now, or without feeling in control our reaction also. Okay, and after that there is yet this situation where we are responding with some action to change in our environment. How is control and coordination achieved in such situation? It means here is a question, that how is control and coordination achieved in such situation. So here is given that let us consider this further. Take one of our example, that is touching a flame in an urgent, okay, and a dangerous situation for us. It means touching if we touch the flame, then it is a dangerous situation for us. After that, or in fact for any animal also. How would we respond to this? Obviously we respond to we pull out our hand. Okay, one seemingly simple way is to think consciously about the pain and the possibility of getting burnt. Okay, if there is if we put the hand in a flame, then there is a possibility of what? Consciously pain and also the possibility of getting burnt, and therefore we move our hand from here. Now an important question then is, how long will it take us to think all this? It means how long it takes us to think them. So how many times how long will it take us to think all this thing, that there is a pain, there is a possibility of burn, then we should move our hands. Okay, So it is given that the answer depends on how we think. It means this total answer dependent that how we think. Okay. Now if nerve impulses are sent around the way we have talked about earlier, then thinking is also likely to involve the creation of such impulses. Now thinking is a complex activity. It is a complex activity. Now so it is bound to involve a what? Complicated interaction of many nerve impulses from many neurons. Okay. Thinking is a complex activity. So it is bound to involve the complicated interaction. Okay. Thinking is a complex activity. That's why it is bound to involve a complicated interaction of many nerve impulses from many neurons. Now, if this is the case, it is no surprise that the thinking tissue in our body consists of dense networks of intricately arranged neurons. It sits in the forward end of the skulls and also receive the signal from where? From all over the body, which it thinks about before responding. Okay. Now obviously in order to receive this signal, thinking part of the what? Thinking part of the brain in the skull must be connected to the nerve coming from the various part of the body. It means obviously if they are connected, then they can receive this signal. Okay. So if the part of the brain is to instruct muscles to move nerves, then must carry this signal, okay, and back to the different part of the body. If all of this is to be done when we touch a hot object, it may enough time for us to get burnt. It means it may enough time to get burnt if we touch any hot object. Now, how does the design of the body solve this problem? It means it depends. That there is given that how does the design of the body solve this problem? Rather than having to think about the sensation of heat, if the nerves that detect heat were to be connected to the where? To the nerves that move muscles in a simpler way. Now, the process of detecting the signal or also the input and the responding to it by an output action might be completed quickly. It means it will be completed quickly. Okay. Now such a connection is commonly called reflex arc. Means such connection is commonly called reflex arc. Okay. Reflex arc. Where should such reflex arc connection be made between the input nerve and the output nerve? It means where should it will be the connection of input and the output nerve. Okay. From the best place of course would be at the point where they first meet each other. It means the first place where the first point where they meet with each other. Now the nerve from all over the body meet in a bundle, okay, in the spiral cord on their way to the brain. It means all the nerves from all over the body, they meet in a bundle, okay, in a spinal cord on their way to brain. Now reflex arc are formed in this spinal cord. It means where the reflex arc formed? Reflex arc are formed in the spinal cord. although the information input also goes on to reach the brain. It means the information of input, okay, also go to the brain. Of course, reflex arc have involved in animal because the thinking process of the brain is not fast enough, okay. In fact, many animals have very little or none of the complex neuron. That's why the network needed for thinking, okay. So it is quite likely that reflex arc have involved an efficient way of functioning in the absence of true thought processing, okay. After that, however, even after complex neuron networks have come into the existence, reflex arc continues to be what? More efficient for quick response. It means for the quick response and for the to be the more efficient, okay. To be the more efficient for quick response, reflex arc, sorry, complex neuron networks have come into the existence, okay. This is called the motor neuron. This one is the, she's going here, okay, sensory relay effector neuron, okay, and this is called receptor, okay. There is a receptor in the skin. And next topic is about the human brain. Okay. So, is reflex action the only function of the spinal cord? Here is the question, that reflex action is the only function of the spinal cord. Yes or not? Okay. Obviously not, since we know that we are thinking being a spinal cord. Okay, means obviously not, since we know that we are thinking brains. Okay, so a spinal cord is made up of what? Nerve which supply information to think about. Okay, sorry. Now thinking involves more complex mechanism and neural connection, and these are concentrated in the brain, where concentrated all in the brain, which is the main coordinating center of the body. Means brain is the main coordinating center of the body. The brain and the spinal cord constitute the central nervous system. Okay, it means this they constitute which one? The brain and the spinal cord constitute the central nervous system. Okay, after that, here is they receive information from all part of the body and integrate it. Okay, it means they receive with the which one? The brain and the spinal cord, means whose name is the they that constitute the central nervous system. They receive information from all over the body and integrate it. Now we also think about our action. Writing, talking, moving a chair, clapping at the end of the program are example of voluntary action. It means these are the voluntary action which are based on where? Deciding what to do next. So the brain also has to send a message to the muscles that we should this in the next. Okay, so this is the second way in which the nervous system communicates with the muscles. Now the communication between the central nervous system and the other parts of the body is facilitated by the peripheral nervous system. It means when this type of communication between the central nervous system and the other parts of the other parts of the body is facilitated through the peripheral nervous system, and that is PNS. Okay, consisting of cranial nerve. Okay, now the existing thus allows to think and take action based on that thinking. Cranial nerve arising from the brain, and the spinal nerves arising from the spinal cord. It means in the in the PNS it means the peripheral nervous system, there is cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. cranial nerves that arise from the brain, and the spinal that is from the spinal cord. The brain thus allows us to think and take action based on that thinking. As you will expect, this is accomplished through a complex design with different parts of the brain responsible for integrating different inputs and output. The brain has three such major parts of reason, namely forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Here is the brain have the four major part, that is forebrain, midbrain and last one is hindbrain. Okay. Now here is the forebrain is the main thinking part of the brain. It means there is a question that which part of the brain is the which part of the brain is the main thinking part. Okay, so there will be forebrain. Okay, it has a region which receives sensory impulses from various receptors. It means it has the regions which receive the sensory impulses from various receptors. Now separate areas of the forebrain are specialized for hearing, smell, sight and so on. So there are separate areas of association where this sensory information is interpreted by the putting it together with information from other receptor. Now as well as with the information that is already stored in the brain, based on all this a decision is made about how to respond, and information is passed to the motor areas which control the movement of voluntary muscles, for example our leg muscle. Okay, it means overall the forebrain is the main part. Okay, it has the separate, there is a separated area for the of the forebrain that are specialized for hearing, smell, sight and so on. Okay, and this separate area of association which where this sensory information is interpreted by putting it together with what? With information from other receptor. Okay, that is come from the various sensory that they receive from the sensory impulses from various receptor. All this decision is made about to respond. Okay, and however certain sensation are distinct from the seeing or hearing. For example, how do we that we have eaten enough? The sensation of filling is full because of what? Center associated with hunger, which is in a separate part of the forebrain. This is given the human brain. Okay, this one is the forebrain, midbrain and the hindbrain. Okay, this one. Study the level. Okay, level diagram. Let us look at the order to use the word reflex that we have talked about in the introduction. It means let us look about at the other word that we use. The word what? Reflex. Okay. Let's see. Our mouth waters when we see food we like without our meaning to. It means our heart also beat without our thinking about it. In fact, we cannot control this action easily by thinking. Okay, it means these are the things that we cannot control by thinking. Okay, even about them, even if we wanted to also, do we have to think about or remember to breathe or digest food? So in the between the simple reflex action like changing the size of the pupil and the thought out actions such as moving a chair, there is another set of muscle that is the movement of which we do not have any thinking control. Okay, so many of these involuntary actions are controlled by the midbrain. Okay, and the hindbrain also. It means many of the things that is that are involuntary action. They are controlled by mainly midbrain and the hindbrain. All these involuntary actions, including blood pressure, salivation, vomiting, are controlled by the medulla hindbrain. Okay, this is the name. Hindbrain, medulla. Okay, this one. Think about activity like walking in a straight line, riding a bicycle, picking up a pencil. These are possible due to a part of hindbrain called the cerebellum. It means this type of activity we can do due to cerebellum, which is the part of also hindbrain. Also, it is responsible for the precision of voluntary action and maintaining the posture and balance of the body. Okay, it means these are also cerebellum is also responsible for. Now, imagine what would happen if each of these events failed to take place if we are not thinking about it. Okay, it means what happened then if we don't think about this type of things, then what happened about us. Okay. And our next one is that how are this tissue protected. Okay, so this topic we will start in the next video. So I hope you understand whole the video about the human brain and also about the reflex action. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.